The Ghost Cook, a story by Eby's Heart.
In a little village of Ugwanta, there lived a food seller. She cooks the most delicious food in Ugwanta. Everyone in Ugwanta queues to buy food from her shop. She comes to the market before everyone and closes very late, in fact later than everyone as well. Her food never finishes, because anytime anyone wanted to buy food, it was always available and hot. Ugwanta people also invite her to cook in their ceremonies, and they all enjoy her meals very much. No one knows where she lives or where she was from. Whenever they ask her where she was from, she would tell them she was from the neighboring village and that her name was Mama Neka. Even when there was food scarcity and everyone was trying to survive, Mama Neka always had food to sell. Then one night, two women were coming back from a meeting in the neighboring village, and they saw a woman carrying so many load on her head and 2 hands. They hid in the bush so that they can have a better look when the person get closer. When the person got to where they hid, they found out it was Mama Neka the food seller. They were surprised at how she was able to carry so many pots and bags at the same time.
It was as though she had so many hands and heads. Fear gripped them, but they decided to follow and know where she was staying. They followed her, but she just kept walking. It was as if she doesn't have a destination. Then she suddenly stopped after walking for almost the whole night. They wondered why she stopped in the middle of the thick forest. She then stood there for a while and boom, she disappeared. The two women almost passed out because of fear. They ran all the way home and couldn't even discuss what they saw until after some days. After some days, the two women mustered courage to confront Mama Neka. "Who are you, this woman? Speak the truth now before we expose you," the first woman said with a whisper. Mama Neka simply looked at her and faced what she was doing. "You are not a human being, we saw you disappear. If you don't speak up now, we will scream for the whole village to hear," the second woman said, raising her voice. Mama Neka dragged both of them to the back of her shop and said in a demonic voice, "You think you know me, right? I saw both of you following me that night. I am a demon from the pit of hell, who have come to take her revenge on this village. And since both of you want to mess up my plans for me, I will start with you and your families." She disappeared in their presence after threatening them. They walked slowly with tears in their eyes while shaking with fear. Then they heard Mama Neka's voice in front of her shop attending to her customers. They became even more scared that they were screaming as they were running home. The first woman got home and insisted on telling her husband, who was part of their Igwa's cabinet. She felt the Igwa must know of the danger they were all in, but immediately she opened her mouth to talk to her husband. A hand held her throat and she was almost suffocating to death. Her husband and their son tried to help her, but she fainted and was resuscitated after several hours. Then she tried to speak again, but she had lost her voice. All her attempt to explain what happened was futile, and everyone was telling her to relax and thank God she is alive. The second woman heard what happened to her friend and decided to take whatever they saw to her grave. Mama Neka continued her business as usual. Then one day, the village elders invited a very powerful seer from a faraway village to come and seek the face of the gods about what had been going on in Ugwanta, their village. Ugwanta village was turning into a deserted land, their young ones die in their prime. Immediately they reach 18 years, they fall ill and die within days. This had been going on for some years and Ugwanta had invited many seers to help them, but none have succeeded. Until he came. They call him Ikuku, meaning breeze. Immediately Ikuku stepped into Ugwanta, he felt the presence of a demon and walked briskly to Mama Neka's shop. "Why are you tormenting these people?" Ikuku asked Mama Neka, who was serving food with smiles. She looked at him with red fiery eyes and said, "Stay out of my business." "You have no business here," Ikuku roared back. Mama Neka's eyes turned bloody and she spoke like a real demon. "Do you know what these people did to me? Do you? They killed my only child, they stoned my beloved Neka to death, simply because she stole 2 tubers of yam, when I was sick. They all condemned her without trying to find out why she did it. She was just 18 years old, I was so sick to fight for her when she was killed. I died few days after her death, And you think I have no business here? She roared again, but this time with a teary face. Is that enough reason to make a pact with a demon to torment these people? Their law is to stone thieves to death. Don't you think they were simply obeying the laws of their land? Ikuku said with anger. Laws of a land that kill children is barbaric. That is why they must all bury their children. None of their children will cross 18 years old. So far as they continue eating my food, they will never be healthy. And if you love your life, you would leave immediately like the other seers and never return, Mama Neka said and stormed out with anger. Ikuku turned and looked at her customers, and discovered they were all carried away, and none even noticed he had been exchanging words with Mama Neka. Ikuku went to the Igul to tell him about his findings. The Igul was so upset because he lost his only son on his 18th birthday 2 years before. He stormed out of his throne, called all his guards and asked them to go and beat Mama Neka to death. All Ikuku's effort to make the Igul understand that this was a very wrong move failed. The guards went straight to Mama Neka's shop and started scattering everything in sight. Mama Neka smiled and invoked fire on the palace. Fire started burning the palace and different parts of the village. Everyone was running helter-skelter. The Igul and his household were trapped by the fire and they all burnt to death. Ikuku managed to escape Ugwanta village, but he vowed to go back and deliver them from the evil spirit tormenting them. After a few days, Ikuku returned with so many powerful seers. They went into war with Mama Neka, who have changed fully into a demon and was causing mayhem in the entire village. After days of long battle with Mama Neka, Ugwanta village was free. Ikuku told them things to do in other to appease the vengeful spirit of Mama Neka. He told them to go to her village in Amuma and ask after her grave and her daughter's grave. Ugwanta people must select delegate to pay homage to the grave and appease their spirit every 6 months. They should erect a monument of their image in the village square. That failure to do these things, the demon will return with even a greater anger.